So indeed, let's take a deeper look, because we want to really show you, and not only tell you, but show you how we solve challenges like what's stopping us to connect entire supply chains, or why does it take so long to connect, and how about those document-based processes, how about those? Now, in order to show you how we solve these challenges, we will do this through the lens of 3 fictitious companies. We'll start with A to Z Logistics. They're a logistics company, and their biggest challenge is to connect with their trading partners. We follow it up with Adventure Engineering. They're a manufacturer of outdoor equipment, such as kayaks or hiking poles. Their challenge is to connect with their smaller customers. And finally, we end with Summit Gear. They're a retailer, and they sell the outdoor equipment that Adventure Engineering is manufacturing. The challenge of Summit Gear is that they spend a lot of manual time, valuable hours, on the claims process. We'll start with A to Z, and let's dive right in. As you know, and Tim also mentioned it, 80% of the data you need to run your supply chain effectively lives outside of your 4 walls, and A to Z is no different. So what they want to do is to connect with their trading partners and their customers. So for example, with Summit Gear. Now, a typical integration project works as follows. It starts with phase 1. This is a lot of phone calls, emails, tedious manual tasks, because you need to call, in this case, Summit Gear, and ask them, what type of connectivity protocols do you have? Can you send me example files? How does your security work? What IP address do we need to whitelist? Should we open the port on our firewalls? This is a lot of manual back and forth communication. Then we go to step number 2. This is where you do the data mapping. This is what I would like to say, the easy bit on our data platform today. But it doesn't stop there, because then we go to step 3, the last step. And step 3 is all about testing. So can the systems really find each other? Did we open the right ports? Did we really whitelist the right IP addresses? Is the certificate not expired? Again, emails, phone calls, waiting time. Now, this whole process, if you would have to do it only once, it's okay. But I know many of you have dozens, hundreds, or in some cases even thousands of trading partners. And then this becomes a very, very costly process. On top of that, A to Z Logistics want to connect with their CAP providers, so DHL, FedEx, and UPS. And each CAP provider, as many of you know, has their own interfaces, their own APIs. So this is an additional challenge. So the question is, can A to Z Logistics connect with these partners while maintaining flexibility and speed? The answer is yes, and for that we introduced the Lobster Trading Partner Manager. With this, A to Z Logistics can do a self-service invite towards Summit Gear and ask Summit Gear to onboard themselves on the landscape of A to Z without all of the tedious back and forth phone calls and emails. And then the Lobster Trading Partner Manager will automatically configure parts of the integration process for you. But don't take my word for it. I would very much like to ask Patrick here on stage to show you really how we do it.
Okay, thanks, Jethro. So, let me jump in the 2 roles that Jethro mentioned, A to Z Logistics Company, and they've got a new customer, and this customer wants to get up and running very quickly. I need to get them connected. Let's see how that looks. So, in Lobster, you have the possibility of adding partners and channels. This is in itself not too tricky. The problem is, as Jethro mentioned, emails, Excel sheets, keeping track of which partners I've onboarded. And what we'd like to do here today is show you how we can do that faster, and not just look at the technical connection, but also the communication aspects. What I have here then is the partners. And instead of adding them here, I'm going to go into our Trading Partner Manager. What this does is it connects me to an online platform where I can log in and connect my different partners. Here's the question whether the Wi-Fi is fast enough or not. Always a challenge in a live demo. So let's look at our connections in here. So I have different partners added on, and you can see here I have statuses for all of these partners. So this is one thing as well. I don't have an Excel list. I have actually the status live of when they're onboarded, whether they've responded, whether they've got them connected, and whether they're tested or not. So I want to add a new connection here. I have the ability here then to put in, of course, the different information. I'll put in a company name. I want to get Summit Gear on board. Okay, for here, I'd probably put the communication name of the person I'm talking to on the other side, but for right now, I'm going to put in Summit Gear. And then I'm also going to put in here, of course, an email. What I can do here then now, of course, different languages are possible if my partners are in different countries. And I have the possibility here to check which environment. So I can connect to my test system or to my production system. In this case, I have a production system. I can choose my protocol. We're going to use SFTP today. And I can decide whether that's inbound, outbound, whatever. In this case, we're going to do outgoing, meaning I want to connect to the system over there. So let's do this. I'll save this. I'll do a preview here. This is the email that goes out. So you can see it's A to Z branded. And what I'll do now is send out the connection. You'll see now somebody here showed up, and it showed up as sent. Yeah? At this point, then, let me jump over here and show you what happens on the other side. On this side, then, what I want to do is show you how, as the receiver of this invitation, how I can go about this. So at this point, then, everything's been set up there. I could be in a different time zone. I could be, for example, then working at a different hours. I might not have time today. I might want to do it tomorrow. At this point, then, I just want to get online and do that. So I do this. This can happen asynchronously. That means I can show up here and do this whenever I want and not just when he's sending emails. So let's go on here and do this. Let me get myself set up here. So I want to log in here. Obviously, at this point, then, in many cases, I would show up here. There'd be some legal disclaimers and stuff like that. We might jump through that here to just kind of speed up the process. So I'm now logged in as Summit Gear on the exact same platform that I just overused there as A to Z. I go into my connections. At this point, I only have one, but of course, I can connect with any number of partners. They can all invite me. So let's go in here and see what this looks like. Here, I've got a requested SFTP connection. So I'll go in here. Now I can put in some additional details here, firewall settings, which port I need to open. I can upload or download certificates if that's required for the particular connection I'm doing here. But for today, I'm just doing some basics here. We're going to set up here that we're going to go in and put our settings here for this. So let's go in and put our user in here for SFTP. Let's put in our URL we're going to use here. And here I could upload a certificate if that made sense, but to speed things up here a little bit, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to save this, and then I can deploy it. And what you'll notice is first when it's deployed, do I actually get the question about the password? We're not saving passwords here. We want to keep this as secure as possible. So this is going to be using the password here just at one point here to actually just do the first initial connection. Let's confirm that. We've got that set up. Let's go into connection test. So at this point, I've sent the data back and forth, but now I want to see, did it really work? Can I connect to the other system? Let's do this. We'll start a test here. So test pending. What's going to happen now is I need to get on this SFTP server and check this file out. Let's go on there. Let me refresh this. And you'll see a new file just showed up right now. Let's go in and take a look at this. Copy this out. Go back into the trading partner manager. Put that in there. Validate it. Test successful. So all of this can happen anytime I want. It's not dependent on communication, email, Excel list, or anything like that. Let me jump back over here and show you what's happened at A to Z. If we go back into A to Z now, you'll see here we've got sent. Let's refresh this. Go in here. You'll see that this is set up as deployed. Now this is on the online platform. What does it mean for the Lobster platform by A to Z? If we go in here and take a look at this, let's go back into our partners. Let's refresh this. And you'll see now Summit Gear showed up, added via the trading partner manager. I've got a connection here. As easy as that is how you can do it immediately with the Lobster data platform. How's that, Jethro?
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. I think it's very cool because this is really self-service onboarding. But I think you forgot one thing because we also spoke about the CAP connectors of the CAPs, DHL, FedEx, UPS.
Okay, let me show you that. CAP connectors work this way. You map your internal system, your ERP, your TMS, what happens to be that you're tracking your packages then. You can map it to our internal format, and that internal format is then mapped to the various connectors here. In this case, we've set it up that FedEx and UPS is already in use by A to Z. They want to add DHL right now. Well, let's go and see about how that can be done. We go back into our partners and channels again. We've got CAP connector. They're already set up with the standard connections here. This could be OAuth 2 or something like that, but let's use DHL Express here right now. Let me go in here, grab my username and password here. Add that in. I can now use DHL.
Yeah, that's easier than I thought it would be. Thanks, Patrick, thanks. So let's take a look at what you just saw. Let me summarize it for you. The idea here is that, of course, you just saw the live demo, but what did we really do? We helped connect A to Z with their cab providers and with their trading partners, solving the challenges they had around manual back and forth, communication, waiting time, the testing, all of that now part as an automated workflow in our platform, while keeping the security guide rails in place, because in our current day and age, we feel security is super important. So this is the challenges that we solved for them. If you look at what we did for the cab situation, we installed the cab connector. It was already on there, of course, in the demo. You can download that from our marketplace and install it in your platform. And then the only thing you need to do is you map your data once to our unified data model, and from there you can just say, send data to shipments, right? Route shipments via DHL or via FedEx or via UPS, which means it really increases your flexibility and lowers your switching cost, because historically switching between cabs is expensive because you have to rebuild the integrations. Now that's no longer the case with DHL, FedEx and UPS. Now I see some of you thinking, we're in the Netherlands here, we're in Rotterdam, which is actually my hometown. So how about PostNL? And for that I'm actually quite excited, because today I can announce, it's the first time we're talking about it, that we are going to release an integration with PostNL in April with the launch of our new version of the platform, 26.2. And there PostNL will be a key part of our cab connector, so it will be supported in the same way as DHL, FedEx and UPS. So for the Benelux customers, this is a big step forward, because that means you can now leverage PostNL's vast, extensive local network with the same seamless integration experience. So this will go live in April. If you want early access, feel free to reach out, because I can set you up with our engineering teams and they can get you earlier access so you can start working with this already today. Thanks. So I think this is a very nice improvement. Now, if you look at the value for A to Z logistics, what it means is they can free up their IT capacity to work on more valuable, more tricky tasks, right? Because we make a lot of IT capacity available because the rest can go more self-service. This means faster time to integration and less risk of these integration projects running out of scope or out of time or out of budget. But at the same time, keeping security standards in place. So, this is key. And why is it key? Because it allows A to Z logistics to, in an easy way, tap into the data that sits all along their supply chain. And that's the data that they actually need for AI. We talked about AI a lot today, and I know many in this room here are also looking and considering how do we invest in AI initiatives, how do we benefit from the advantages. We had some very interesting customer conversations about it yesterday evening and today as well. However, the challenge is that a lot of organizations do not have the right data they need to benefit from artificial intelligence. And the reason is that all along the supply chain, bigger organizations typically need to tap into over 400 different data sources to get all the information, the data out there. So these are your core systems, your legacy on-prem databases, emails with those small customers with PDFs attached, trading partners, cabs, everywhere. Now, once you're able to tap into that data, then you'll find that in many cases it's erroneous. Maybe it's out of date. There is no unified data model. The quality is inconsistent. And all of those things are challenges which lead to one result. And Tim already mentioned it. The result is that 85% of AI initiatives which are being deployed today are failing. And that's a staggering number. That's millions and millions of euros wasted. And the reason is not that the AI is bad or that the models are broken, and not at all. The problem is that just like humans, AI cannot act on what it cannot see. So if your inventory data, your order data, your production plans, if they only sync one every few hours, or if the data is inconsistent or wrong, of course AI cannot be truly proactive and help you with your decisions. So before you start thinking and executing on your AI strategy, I would really challenge you to think about your data strategy first, because this is the fuel which fuels and fires all of these AI initiatives. Now let's take a look at what that really means for Adventure Engineering, our manufacturer of outdoor equipment. So their challenge is that they work with many small customers, specialty stores, and those customers still run their processes on documents, on emails and PDFs attachments. I think it may sound familiar for some of you. I see some people nodding, others face palming, like, no, not this again. But the reality is this is still the case. Many supply chains still run on email and PDF today. So the question is, how can we get to these documents in an automated fashion, and how can we embed AI into an operative process to turn an unstructured ad hoc data point into an automation? Now for that, I would like to invite Patrick to show you also how we can do that.
Thanks, Jethro. If you're working with specialty retailers or small shippers even that are maybe sending a pallet or two per week, your email inbox is filled with PDFs. What we'd like to do is show you how you can automate it. What I'm going to do now, though, is going to be a bit of a manual process so you can really see what happens, but normally this would be coming in, as emails come in, this process would happen automatically. Basically what we're doing here is we're going out and we're going to add in a PDF. As you know, this would normally be something that you add in by hand. What's happening here, though, is we're sending out to an AI, and this can be anyone, whether you're using an OCR, maybe using ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever it happens to be, this is integrated into the Lobster platform to send this call out there and get it back. So this is a third-party component, but we can integrate it directly into your processes. And that's what makes it attractive. If one works better next month, you change. So we've got the new PDF in here. You can see that just got added in there. It was uploaded this time. We can access it via other formats as well. Let's take a look at what's happened here. So we've sent this out, had AI analyze it, and put that into our data structure. But what we're seeing here is the problem is this product number wasn't found. The price is not valid, and this article is not active. But if we look over here in the PDF, you can actually see AI did everything exactly correct. The data in the PDF is now in our data structure, but it's still wrong. So I need to get the human in the loop at this moment and fix this. So what happened here? Okay, completely wrong thing. It's even a wrong format. Let's find out what here could be the problem. We can go in here, select this. I'm now accessing my backend catalog, PIM, ERP, and I can add this in and correct it immediately. As you can see, typo, one extra error there. Here as well, 119, it's actually more than that. It's 129, yeah, 99. Prices get updated. Customers don't put it in their system. They order wrong, and the price is wrong. Here, product has been discontinued. I don't actually want that showing up in my ERP, or maybe I want to inform my customer that that is an invalid product. So I can send information out to them automatic out of this process. I remove it here, and at this point then, I send it to my ERP. So when I go back out here, this is corrected, it's released. Unstructured data coming in, completely correctly analyzed from AI, but still wrong, but we've corrected it here in Lobster, and we've done that in just a few clicks. How's that for dealing with PDFs, Jethro?
Thanks, Patrick. Let's take a look at what we actually showed you. So we helped Adventure Engineering to turn a document-based process into an automation. So their customers have limited automation in place. They provide them with unstructured data, leading to an error-prone process. But through the use of AI and contextual data, we were able to change this into an automated and validated process. And the idea here is that the real-time contextual data is the key to unlock these benefits of AI. Because what you saw is that even if AI is 100% correct, it can still be wrong. And the reason is that these AI algorithms, the models, they're all trained on, let's say, general purpose data out there, right? They're trained on general knowledge. They don't know your specific situation. They don't know your context, your price lists, your specific proprietary knowledge. But it is codified in your ERP, in all of your internal systems. So by making sure that in a safe and secure way, you can take this data into account when you start to do your AI initiatives, and you make the data and the AI initiatives contextualized and enriched, then you can increase the accuracy and make sure that you don't fall in the 85% of failing initiatives, but in the 15% ones which really return on investment. And I think this is why it's so important to get to that real-time contextual data. So what we know, though, is that becoming AI ready is a challenge. And the reason is that all of that data that you have and that you own is in your internal core systems, your CRM, your PIM, your ERP. And in order to make that AI enabled, there are typically two strategies that you can do. One is update your ERP, door number one, right? Really go in and update the ERP. Behind door number one, we have a very big project. It's 18 to 36 months of work, and in 55 to 75% of the cases, ERP upgrades run out of budget and out of time. That's behind door number one. It will make you AI ready because new ERPs may have more modern APIs, maybe a bit easier to connect, although in practice, in fact, in many cases, it's not so great as it sounds, but still, this is the trajectory you could try, right? That's door number one. But there's also door number two. And behind door number two, we have a radically different approach. What we do is you can put the Lobster data platform on top of your core system, on top of your ERP, for example, and you can turn that way, you can turn your core system into an AI-enabled resource today, not in 36 months from now after millions of euros investment in the upgrade. And we can do that through the Lobster MCP server. I know AWS also spoke about it earlier today. The idea is that we can translate your language, internal language of your ERP, into something that a large language model understands, and that the large language model can then reason with this context. It can basically chat with your ERP, figure out which data to use for a certain user question, and then intelligently respond to the end user. That's what the Lobster MCP server allows you to do. Turn every existing system out there into an AI-enabled resource without having to do that major investment. Now let's take a look at what that means for Summit Gear. The challenge with Summit Gear is that they ship high value, but also sometimes low value outdoor equipment, and every now and then something gets broken and you ship it. Now this is a manual claims process. Anybody working in retail in the room, I'm sure you have a process like this. And the challenge is that this is time consuming. Manual intervention is needed. Specialized people get involved. Partners need to be coordinated. You need to look at the stock. I was even having a conversation with a retail customer today about this topic. And the system to make decisions on how to do that replacement, the data for that decision, I mean, that data is spread across many different systems. You need to look in your CRM. Is this a high-value customer or not? You need to look, do we have it in stock or not? How do we ship it? Lots of information is needed to make this decision, which means it's a high-value manual task. At the same time, some goods may not be so valuable, or some customers may not be so important because they only order with you once a year. So maybe you want to do straight-through processing for these claims. Now, making those decisions is a tedious task, and this is where AI can help, if only it could have access to all of those systems in an efficient way. Now, for that, again, I would like to pass the ball back to you, Patrick, and let us show us how.
Okay. Let's see how we can help AI make decisions for us. Claims, in most cases, particularly with small value goods, as soon as the person is involved, you've lost money. However, there are ways to improve that, and as Jethro said, with the systems you have today. Let's take a look at how this can work. These are all claims that have been processed here. Let's go in and see what's happening. This claim has been processed by AI and has been defined as low priority, and we should just replace the product. Now, you might be finding out, how did AI come up with this? Well, it has access to the emails out of your email system, and we can also find out why. What's the logic behind it? We have here the reasoning of AI. So in a call to our AI agent, we ask them, say, why did you set this particular priority? So non-urgent, issue is minor, the customer it's not a safety hazard or anything like that, and it's a low-value item. Replacement parts are readily available. So what we've done here is process the claim, decided the priority, found out whether it's worth spending any time of a person involved, and actually taken care of the claim being processed in the background. That makes things like this actually very quick to get done, and the customers are satisfied because you're answering very quickly. This all can happen without a human being involved. Now, you might wonder then, if everything's being processed automatically, how am I keeping on top of this? I don't want to log into the system every day. Well, with Lobster, of course, you can connect any sort of communication system. In this case, we actually have customer service, Teams chat, and in this Teams chat, we of course want to make sure that when it's a difficult claim, something that's really important, we want to get involved. But let's jump into this one. This claim is a little bit different. As soon as it starts up here, we'll take a look at this. This claim involves a broken kayak. A kayak is not a small value item. So let's take a look at what's happening here. Here the kayak has said, oh, it's a platinum customer. It's actually the Federal Training Center for Canoe Slalom. We want to take care of them because these are the people going off and showing off kayaks. So they have an event in just 10 days. We need to have it shipped very quickly, and we don't have one available at the moment. This is a high-value item. We need to get a person involved in this actual task. So let's take a look and see how these things happen and show what we have here to do. For example here, in this particular case, we've also had the AI has created options for us. So AI has gone out, looked at the available options, and recommended various things. Let's take a look at some of the other options as well, though, that it looked at. It looked at upgrading the actual kayak and sending us there, but they wanted this exact kayak. These are professionals. They know exactly what they want. In this particular case, then, we could have gone up from a store. However, we don't have anything available in the store. We had to check that, of course, then. In this particular case, we could go up from the manufacturer. However, it would take longer, and it's a higher cost. The recommended thing is to ship it from our Berlin warehouse. All the advantages are checked here, and that's been taken care of workly completely by AI. Now, what we might want to do here is figure out, well, how did he get all this information? How does this actually work? Well, let's show you what Lobster actually does here. This is our MCP server. This is actually where we're connecting these back-end systems. If you want to take a look at what we're connecting to, we have a process map. What we have here is every system we're connected in the background. We have point of sale in the stores. We have ERP data. We've accessed the supplier's information here as well. We're calculating CO2 costs. Obviously, we're an outdoor company. We want to make sure that we're environmentally there. All of these things are available to the AI agent to process these cases. Now, you might say that's good, but what really happened? Well, let me show you actually that as well. This was claim number 51, so let's sort on that. And what you can see here now is every single thing that this claim did. In this particular case here, I've got a claim description, I got information on the customer CRM, I got store inventory, I can even see the information that's being sent for the request, and I can also track what's going back. Every piece of data flowing is tracked by Lobster. I can go in and see this. Now, when I actually go out here and choose this one, then I also want something to happen. At this point, I actually want something to go on here. So let's go back and see what happens here as well. In this particular case as well, we're going from about 46 entries. Now we've got 48. So we've actually created an order to ship this from the Berlin warehouse to the customer, and we send a resolution mail to the email. All of that in existing systems without any changes to the flows you have, and all completely controlled by Lobster because we log and monitor every single piece of data flowing. How's that for smart systems and governance?
Thank you. This is the demo I personally like the most.